Hello, people of the world. Today, we're just going to go over some different methods on how to not become a debtor to um, the Crown Corporation. And there is different ways in which you can find a remedy for any fines that are imposed upon you, such as parking tickets. Now, mind you, this is not um, legal advice. If you were to seek legal advice, make sure you do it from a competent counsel member of the just a competent legal person. Just seek competent counsel. There we go. Sorry, my tongue is tied. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go over some things and just some of the things that have worked for me. Now, I don't want you to believe everything that I say here today. I want you to do your own due diligence and to do your own research. Um, and we'll dive into it. So basically, what I've done, um, so when they get like and we all get this, you get like letters in the mail, like for our parking ticket, for example, and you know, you just ignore it and you say, "I'm not paying that. You you did this or that. You owe me for this and that," which is fine, but you don't express it in a proper form or a you express it in some other unhealthy ways that are not really constructive and gain a remedy. I'm not saying violence. I'm just saying it might lash out into other dealings as well too. So what to do is, so if you get like a notice in the mail, like you get a parking notice, like you have such and such date to pay this fine. Um, and then if you don't, you'll be summoned into court. So when you're summoned, it's actually your legal person. When they write you like a letter, it's your legal entity, and it's in all caps. So basically, what that means is that your all capital persons is a corporation. It's the same as giving like a parking ticket out to Pepsi or Coca Cola. Your name is all capitalized. Your name is a corporation. It's not you, the living man that we think of with a common law jurisdiction that most people operate in. They're operating under corporate, commercial, you could say maritime law, and there's ways in how there's processes that have been going all the way back to Rome and how you deal with things. And so basically, there's basically four ways that you can respond to a ticket, or I guess you could say a contract offer from any of the Crown employees. One is to ignore it. So when you ignore it, you become a debtor, and that allows them to pursue more actions. So, like, like you get a parking ticket, and you say, if you don't pay it by this date, you'll be summoned into court. And then if you don't go to court, you'll be charged with another. And then it'll just keep accelerating, accelerating. Next thing you know, that you have public servants knocking down your door and taking your stuff or taking your car or whatever, right? Um, and so that's one way to respond, and that's the consequence of, because everything you do is an action, even if you ignore it. That's a choice that you made, and there's consequences for ignoring it, right? So think of it that way. So you don't want to ignore it. You want to address it, right? But the second way is to say flat out no. You just write them, no, I'm not paying this. I don't owe you anything. Um, that will still make you a debtor, right? Um, the third way, of course, is just bend over, pay for it like a good little slave, uh, like the trustee that you are. The fourth way is what I want to get into today. So the fourth way is you can conditionally accept the offer if they can meet your terms. So I just want to get into that today and I just want to show you how I gained that remedy. And yeah, so I'm just going to read you a letter that I sent. So this is just it works for any municipality. The municipality is a corporation, same thing as a provincial corporation or a crown corporation. They're all kind of they can look like different companies, like different pizza uh, corporations or different fast food corporations. The same thing. They operate in the same way. They're a for-profit entity. Um, that they have certain contractual obligations that they must follow when they swear an oath of office. Um, same thing if you once you get employed, like in a certain area, you have certain rules you have to follow when you're in that, when you're acting in that capacity as an employee or a manager or whatever. So yeah, so basically, this is just one ticket that I wrote here. So dear city of, I'm not even gonna say it, but I'm just gonna say city of your choice. City of Saskatchewan. There you go. Parking ticket. You have failed to produce any proof of bond and/or contract that Jonathan A. Vance, so I'll capped it, is a public trustee at the time of the complaint. Please discharge any debts on the file, or you may be subject to credit fraud, and counterclaims may be pursued against you. So now, when so I sent them a letter, wanting like a proof of bond, anything like that, and they failed to produce it. So when you're writing them like a notice, like a notice, you say, "I notice your notice. Can you conditionally accept your offer? But can you produce, a bond? Can you produce a contract that I was acting as a public trustee at the time of the complaint?" And I have gotten no letter sent back, and I was supposed to be summoned like a month ago to court. And like letters have gone away. Like I've gotten other letters too that I've kept that been sending me for years now, and I haven't seen any of these letters for like the past couple months now. So this thing is quite. I noticed my credit rating also went up too for Jonathan A. Vance. So that makes me happy as the administrator of Jonathan A. Vance for that. And um, it's so simple, and you just start out from those steps right there, and then you just work your way up. And yeah, so yeah, that's just basically, what I maybe I can screen share and I can show you the letter. Or no, I don't want to dox it. But anyway, um, might be outgoing. I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, that's just basically, the gist of it. What you want to do. Um, we can get philosophical stuff like that. When we get more into this stuff, but yeah, basically you don't ignore any of your letters. Think of your name as like you're a corporation, like a business, and that there's contractors wanting to contract with you, and they're kind of like putting an obligation on you, right? And so you just think of that way. Like, I can initially accept your offer if you can prove I have a contract with you. Basically, it's the same premise. I mean, you could see it for your own situation, um, but I mean, I found remedy in this, and also too, another good tip: uh, you don't have to pay. You don't have to contract with the collection agency because they bought your debt, right? Once they sell, basically like a credit company or whatever sells a debt to a collection agency, and they bought it. So now you don't have a contract with them. So they pretty much assume liability. So it's up to them to um, offer you a deal, right? And so just because they offer you like a contract of whatever, said it was say $500, right? You're like, no, I don't have a contract with you. You can't compel me to contract with you, and just say that. And then I'm the administrator of this account. Just state your purpose, state who you are, right? And don't say that you're the name, because that creates like a joiner. So you don't want to say I'm Mr. So and so, or yeah, I am that persona. You don't want to do that. Um, and uh, and so yeah, so you just basically, they might get mad at you, they may hang up on you. Like with my case, they did hang up with on me. It was quite funny. A collection agency hung up on you. That's quite crazy. But yeah, so it's basically the things. I know I got some other things about like commercial liens and all that stuff. That's some pretty heavy stuff, especially when you do commercial liens. I know it's a kind of a straightforward process, and people get excited about it. And I get excited about it too. But you want to make sure that when you're doing those things, like you get enough knowledge and you get enough wisdom to enact those things. And as time goes, as we talk about this with you or me or whatever, I would just like to keep this relationship going. So, yeah, this is basically the gist of it. Um, try it out for yourself. Do some more your own research. Don't take my word for it. See what you do. I guarantee you, they probably be like, they don't get letters back like that. So they're kind of like, what do we do? We can't really necessarily give them a summons. You know. So don't have this idea that there's no remedy out there. The world's messed up, and it is, and I think it is to our own detriment. I think what our really our problem is we do it to ourselves. We're the biggest enemy to ourselves, and we keep getting this cycle, and we keep getting manipulated, and keep getting into these mind control games and stuff like that don't serve us, and we just keep going down this vicious cycle, and or we absolve ourselves of the responsibility of of the community, or of certain things that we shouldn't ignore, and then they come up, they sneak up upon us, and we get surprised, and then it's a crisis again, and stuff like that. So um yeah, never wait, never always administrate your fare in an efficient and timely manner. It's another reason, I think it's another good point I want to bring up too, is that there's a reason why there's a month from when you get the ticket to when your persons get summoned to court. They give you that month for a reason. They give it so that you have time to solve any controversy. So once you get to court, that's it's too late. You have the controversy, and and the courts are there to settle disputes, and they make money off your controversy. So before you do that, you want to settle it out of court, and um, and that's probably the best way that you can do it. And just because it says this, it says that you owe $500, it says that you have to pay $30 or whatever, right? That's an offer. That's not something set in stone. I think um, we've forgotten that, and we've kind of the slave system of fiat currency and printing debt. Um, we've gone away from negotiating things, and and so um, yeah, you don't want to go away from negotiating things. You don't have to take things at face value. You can always negotiate. You're the administrator. You think they have control? You think they can tell you what to do? You think public? When has somebody actually um, knowingly do what public servants tell them to do? You know what I mean? I mean, if they're competent in the area, maybe, but I mean, to a point, it gets. You talk about like bylaws or statutes or acts or anything like that. It's just like that's public servant code. That's not your code. That's not a law. That's a code. That's a legislation for it. Even it says a statute is what governs entities, political entities. Right? An entity? No, you're a living man. a woman, born of the flesh, they can't regulate natural. They can't regulate human beings. Like all this stuff is voluntary. Like you don't have to go. You don't have to go into their courts and and testify, right? As long as you state, I'm not the trustee. You don't have to go, right? But the thing is that they kind of coerce you into it and say, "Oh, it's the arrest warrant." I've actually had a judge say this, like, "You don't have to go." And when the judge said that, I was like, What do you mean that I don't have to go?" That's very interesting. And I kind of looked into it more. It's just like, oh yeah, it's a voluntary system. I mean, you as a living man, like you have to think of it as like this way: like the courts, they're not after you, the person, or the human being. They're after your legal fiction, right? And so when they're talking to you, they have to give a joiner to that legal fiction, right? And and so if you don't give them a joiner, well, they don't have a person that can be liable for it, right? And so that's basically how our whole system is set up with all these procedures and all that stuff. And when you walk into their courtroom, like you have to know like all their acts and statutes and procedures and all that nonsense. And um, you know, so and then they make you do things under protest and duress too, which is not a binding contract. So of course, oh yeah, you're voluntary. Yeah, but you're gonna arrest me. So how's that voluntary? You know what I mean? So they're just trying to make a liability, and if you don't correct your status, they'll definitely make you a liability, and that that makes you a debtor, right? So that's another thing is that, you miss court, you're in dishonor, and then they can pursue further action. They can put a lien on you, or they can arrest you, or stuff like that, right? So you don't want to fall in dishonor. As frustrating as their system is, but um, yeah. So that's basically the gist of it. I don't want to make it too long, but that's just some of the things. Think about it, just mull it over your head. Um, I did have 100 subscribers, but one fell off. Oh well. Um, that's fine. Maybe it'll come back with some more content, but yeah, just keep it short and sweet. And then I don't know, maybe we can have a fun stream afterwards, and we can just talk about other stuff. But I'll keep this kind of short and sweet and informative. So I hope that helps you guys. Um, I'll probably give out some more tidbits of information and stuff like that. Get your brain rolling, get the hamster wheel rolling, and just take responsibility. Stop fucking, begging your government, that I want this, I want that. It's just like, nah, you're just empowering yourself by doing that. I think we've been through this cycle a long time, and maybe through this journey, you guys see me kind of grow, um, and kind of come to that realization that not only that these people don't serve you, they have hostile interests towards you, and that needs to be taken in consideration. So even writing a letter to them or anything like that is kind of pointless. Depends upon what letter you send them, of course. If it's a commercial lien, that's probably a good letter to send them. But yeah, if it's like, you did such and such, and obviously they're just going to keep going with their agenda. They don't really care. It's corporate policy. You're a trustee. You're supposed to do what you're told. So yeah, because you didn't correct your status. So you're just going to keep coming in this loop. Oh, we got to vote for this person. We got to vote for that person. Ain't gonna work. You gotta assert it. You gotta, you know, sovereignty doesn't come at the voting box every 4 years. It's a continual process. That's what I keep saying. It's a continual process, day by day, improving yourself, how to improve your situation, how to improve your prospects, how do you um, set up your own kind of society through mutual consent, and that you can thrive and prosper, and that there's a way that they can leave you alone. I think that's what we really want, right? um, and this is the steps that you can take towards that without bloodshed. So I think it's a very honorable path to take. Um, obviously, okay. They're getting creative. Those bots are getting creative with their uh, what you call it, their spam. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. Maybe they do it to distant channels. I don't know. But anyway, I think I'm gonna call it a stream. Then might do another one afterwards. But I hope you guys find this informative and you have a wonderful day.